Speaking of the assault that we are under from Donald Trump and his administration, propagandist, the Ministry of Information, the Minister of Information, Sean Spicer, is at it again with his daily propaganda meetings and his daily re-information camps that he's putting people through. Let's play this clip and we'll discuss the subject of it in one moment.
Has withdrawn permission for the United States to run special operations ground missions against suspected terrorists in the wake of the recent raid there that claimed so many civilian lives. Does that not undercut the administration's ability to fight terrorism in that region? And do you stand by your assessment that it's a success?
Absolutely. Well, I'll take the last one first. It's absolutely a success. And I think anyone who would suggest it's not a success does disservice to the life of Chief Ryan Owens. He fought knowing what was at stake in that mission. And anybody who would suggest otherwise doesn't fully appreciate how successful that mission was, what the information that they were able to retrieve was, and how that will help prevent future terrorist attacks. I understand that. I think my statement's very clear on that, Kristen. I think anybody who undermines the success of that raid owes an apology and a disservice to the life of Chief Owens. Hold on, Kristen, can I answer the question? I'm answering the question. Please let me finish.
All right, enough of that. So we've seen this before. If you were alive and woke during the Bush administration, you would remember that you should have the taste in your mouth still of how they used the bodies of soldiers, of slain soldiers, and this brutish authoritarian style tactic of silencing any and all political dissent through patriotism and claims that you're not a patriot, and that if you say anything negative about the motives or the operations, the actual missions that the president signs off on, if you question any of that, you are not an American and you're not a patriot and you're a traitor and you're committing treason. And in the case of the Minister of Information, Sean Spicer, in his case, he's saying that you are not only treasonous, but you dishonor the memory of the fallen SEAL soldier. Now, if you couldn't hear the question at the beginning, they're discussing the Yemeni raid, the raid in Yemen that led to the death of about 30 civilians, including women and children, as well as the death of one of our own SEALs Team 6 members. They continue to insist that it was a great success despite the casualties. They say it was a success because they got what they needed. The reality of it is that, well, we should question this because one of their targets during this raid was the leader. Their goal was to capture or kill Qasim al-Rimi, and who was the head of Al Qaeda in the Arab Peninsula. They did not get him. And not only did they not get him, he put out his own propaganda piece laughing at the United States, calling Donald Trump a fool. So if one of your stated goals for the mission was to capture or kill this individual, you did not capture or kill this individual, and you ended up killing 30 civilians, including women and children, and one of your own soldiers is dead, you do not have the right to gallivant around the country saying that it was a great success and expect to not be challenged on that. Or to be held, to be held accountable for it. See, we complain about all the times and ways that past administrations have not been held accountable. And we've come full circle back to the use of this propagandistic tool, this political silencing tool of shutting you up. Because if you ask anything or say anything that is not 100% supportive of the troops, then you're a traitor, treasonous, and in Sean Spicer's case, you're undermining, you're dishonoring the memory of our fallen SEAL soldier, or Navy SEAL. This is the type of assault that not just, and actually, in the last segment, I talked about how progressivism is under assault by conservatives, and the Democratic Party, which I consider separate from progressivism. Yes, they're under attack, but also Americans in general. right? This is a huge disinformation campaign. This is the attempt. This is not only a misinformation campaign, but this is the attempt to silence anyone who would dare challenge or to try to hold the government accountable. And this is their way of opening up their ability or widening their ability to engage in conflicts with no accountability whatsoever. And this is their way of silencing the press, who, quite frankly, no matter how much you may not like the press, they are the only entities large enough to demand accountability from the government. Yes, we should have checks and balances. The Senate should be doing it. The Congress should be doing it. But they're not going to hold any hearings until another party comes in, because it's all partisanship and it's not really about what's in the best interest of America. So we can't really count on them. We should be able to count on the media, but in many ways we can't count on the media. But at the same time, we're witnessing a full-on assault against the ability of the media to even ask a damn question. Without having Sean Spicer, leader of the press Gestapo, silencing reporters, you don't even have the nerve. You shouldn't even have the nerve to ask this question. And I'm sorry, before I just feel bad for the press, which I don't. He also did this to someone from his own party, John McCain. So again, like I said in the last segment, Donald Trump may be having an all-out assault against the DNC, which many of us are not fond of, but he's also engaged in a full-on assault against progressivism, but he's also engaged in a full-on assault against any Republican that would try to hold him accountable. Now, you tell me, where is the real threat? The real threat is Donald Trump not only wanting, but using these tactics so that he can silence anyone who questions him. So he can invalidate any news reports that question him or that is negative, right? His last tweet, any tweet a few days ago, rather. Any news, negative news is fake news. We're not playing, this is not child's play. This is not a game. We are dealing with people who are a true threat to our democracy. And this is it. It feels like I'm being hyperbolic. It feels like I'm fear mongering, but it would be irresponsible for me not to say it exactly like that, because that is exactly what Donald Trump, Sean Spicer, Steve Bannon, and the rest of the Get Along gang are trying to do. They're trying to undermine any entity, whether it be the press, whether it be the House of Representatives, whether it be the Supreme Court or the judiciary, whether it be the Senate. They're trying to undermine the legitimacy of anyone who could challenge them or hold them accountable. And that is a direct threat to our democracy. And as much as it irritated the hell out of me personally to see President Obama kowtow to the institutions, as much as he gave all of this, in my opinion, unnecessary deference to the institutions, there's something to be said about respecting the institutions that's the fundamental groundwork and framework of our democracy. I think Obama may have done it way too much, but we've gone, the pendulum swung as far to the opposite side as it possibly could, because now Donald Trump and his entire infrastructure, his entire team is engaged in a full-on assault against the institutions that would hold them accountable. And yet, if I could be petty and bring this back in from the last segment, and yet we have some people who are so obsessed with drawing an equivalence between anything and everything that Donald Trump does to find some false equivalence with the Democrats so that they can, I guess, have something to talk about, providing tacit cover for Donald Trump to continue doing this. I'm going to be extra petty. Thankfully, most of their platforms aren't large enough to actually have a statistically significant difference in the outcome of any of these events.